It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and this is episode 36. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, June 11, 2023, and it is a great day to be a video gamer and be a podcaster because there is a lot to talk about this week. The video game news has been popping. There's been a bunch of showcases this week. There's still big releases coming out, and there's still, very recent releases that are huge and people are still playing. So we're here to talk about it all today on the Dep Lewis Show. So welcome to the show, 36th installment of this great show. If you'd like to help the show even more than just listening to it like you are right now, please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a dog, tell a squirrel, tell anyone that can listen to a podcast. Email any question. Hey, tell an alien. They're landing here these days pretty often, it seems like. So tell an alien. Let's get this podcast to go intergalactic. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365. So please slide on in there with any questions or comments or anything you'd like to have told to the Dep Lewis Show, and maybe it'll get talked about on this podcast. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the best hub for you to find the perfect place to listen to the Dep Lewis Show weekly and listen to it over and over. You want to make sure you don't miss anything. So just keep streaming this podcast as much as you can, and I will appreciate it so much. So for today's show, we are going to switch it up a little bit since there's been so much news. The first section, we're going to talk about a little bit of what I've been playing. It's mainly been one game. I don't have too much to talk about it, but we're going to talk about that there. And then we've had two showcases. We had a PlayStation showcase, and we had an Xbox showcase. So the Xbox showcase actually happened today, Sunday, June 11th. So we're going to talk about that first. So we're going to in the what I've been playing section. So that's going to be a little bit different. You're going to get some news early on in the first section of the show. And then the second section of the show, the mid-section, will be, just traditional what's been happening in the video game landscape. And that's where we're going to talk about the PlayStation showcase. So those are the notes I prepared earlier in the week for the mid-section. I didn't realize the Xbox showcase was today until last night. So I wanted to be able to watch it so I could talk about it on the show this week. So all this stuff would be really fresh. So we're going to talk about the Xbox showcase and the Starfield Direct in the first section here. The mid-section of the show today will be primarily the PlayStation Showcase. We're going to talk about all the news from that. And then the final section of the show, the miscellaneous talk section, we'll be talking about, we have some book talk, and then we have some sports talk from the worldwide world of sports. So it is going to be a great show today. You really want to get your wish list ready, get your cash ready. There's a lot of games that are going to be talked about here, and I think you should be excited for them. There's definitely going to be something you will like. There's probably going to be multiple things you will like, so you need to get your video game funds on deck because these games are coming out hot, and that's what we're here to talk about. So, just welcome to the show. That's all I got to say. Hopefully you've been watching some of these showcases this week, taking in some of this news, and it's just very exciting to watch all this stuff, and hopefully you've been having some fun with it like I have. So, welcome to the show. This is Dep Lewis Show, episode 36. So let's get into it. We're going to start the traditional way. We're going to talk about what I've been playing. So the main game I've been playing this week, of course, is the same thing that probably 95% of gamers are playing, is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I am currently at the Goron section. I've already gotten one Sage ability from the Wind Temple, and now I've moved on to the Goron. I'm rolling around with the Goron guy who is letting me smash rocks, but I've actually dipped out because I've been having trouble keeping arrows in this game. So I had to go cook a lot of things, and I sold them to Mr. Beetle, and I was able to buy some arrows from a few different shops. I think I'm finally back up to like 50 arrows, but I was going through the Goron section, and I had 0 arrows, so I was finding this difficult, and I wanted to correct that. So I think I still have some preparing to do. I think I still need to go find some more things to cook, maybe do some hunting. I need to get my stash of health potions and things like that back up since I've sold most of them. And I need to get some more arrows. I need to have I want to get 100 arrows or something or more. It's been a struggle recently for me in this game, so I really need to go back and get some resources I think and do some Morrowinding and really just kind of build my stash up before proceeding on some of these difficult things. Because I've been doing some wild things in this game. I went really south at one point last week, And I explored down there and ended up really not making too much progress besides finding a bunch of mighty bananas. And the main thing I found was that a lot of difficult enemies were south, and I wasn't really standing a chance. And I've also been coming across shrines that you go into where they take away all your equipment, so you have to use the equipment in the shrine. I've been having trouble with those. One of my friends told me a good tip for those was you really need to take note of the items they're giving you, because they should be able to help you defeat these sections somewhat easily if you're using them correctly. So I think that's the part that I'm missing, but I've been trying to maybe brute force my way through those a little too much, and I haven't had any luck. So I've been, entering those shrines and dipping out, and then, going to come back to them later on. But I really think I kind of need to build my link up a little bit more right now with talking about the arrows and some of my resources. So that is what I've been doing, and I'll probably continue doing that, later on today when I play, or in this upcoming week. I'll be playing some more Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, obviously. So let's see what else I have. I'm still searching for a Hateno village. I really want to find that. I think I can get a new upgrade from my Pura pad, however you pronounce it. And so I'm trying to find Hateno village. That's kind of why I was going south, but I've been unable to locate the village, and I was even looking at a map and not having luck. And I think that just is the result of this game allowing you to get so sidetracked all the time with doing everything. So this game has been amazing. It's been really the only game I've wanted to boot up. I bought Street Fighter 6 recently, and I haven't really gotten into it too much because I've been playing this Zelda game. And then with all the news this week, there's been a lot going on in the video game world. But at this point in Zelda, I am over 30 hours in, according to the Nintendo time clock, and I'm at 30 shrines right now. So I've only actually completed a few shrines since last week, very minimal. But I have been building Link up and trying to get across this world and become stronger. So that's what I'm doing in this game right now. So I think my next kind of goal is to just get my arrows up, and then maybe go back to that Goron section. I've heard that it's not too bad actually, and one of my friends said he should be able to complete it where I'm at in this game right now. So that is what I want to do. I'd like to complete another Sage section, and that will probably be my plan for this week. So hopefully I'll have some good updates for you next week on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I have been loving this game, and it is clearly the #1 game in the running right now for Dep Lewis Show for the best video game of 2023. So congratulations to Zelda right now. But there have been a lot of other games this year. There is a good list of games that I want to purchase right now. I'm really close to wanting to pull the trigger on Diablo 4. I kind of want to buy that new Katamari Reroll remake game and Royal Reverie. I'd like to play that some. So I think I might be copping those games kind of soon. But also, we got some showcases. We got some directs. We got some information to talk about. So we are going to wrap up this Zelda talk, and we're going to get right into the news. This is going to be a very news-heavy show. So let's see. Well, the last thing about Zelda, yeah, I'm at the Goron. I'm trying to climb Death Mountain. I like that it's called Death Mountain. I'm trying to find Zelda. And the rock smashing power is cool. I was kind of had low expectations for the rock smashing power because I really like the wind power from Mr. Tulin, but the rock smashing power has been really cool, and I feel like the cooldown's pretty quick, and you can smash some rocks, and it'll be nice to permanently have that guy with me, I think is how it'll go. But it's going to be kind of crazy if him and Tulin are both following me at the same time, but I think it'll be useful, and it's kind of fun to have a sidekick going. So that is going to wrap up the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom talk for this week. So let's get into it. So today, on Sunday, June 11th, there was an Xbox showcase, and that was immediately followed by the Xbox Starfield Direct. So we got to see a showcase from Xbox. I guess it was around an hour long, and then the Starfield Direct was around an hour long too. So we're going to go down the list of what I thought was most interesting from both of these, and we're going to talk about it. So I'm starting out the Xbox showcase. I kind of put these in order of what I thought looked the coolest and, what I'd be most inclined to play. There's also some other things that, I'm not even going to talk about because there was a lot of announcements in this showcase, a lot of games, but I basically just picked the ones I wanted to talk about and bring to you, the ones I think are cool. So it's possible I could be missing something that I think is neat in the future or want to play, but from a quick glance, this looks like the top list of things that I think are best from the Xbox showcase. So the first thing I want to talk about is Fable. Xbox kicked off the show with our first proper look at Playground Games' upcoming Fable reboot. They didn't give us a release date, but they did confirm it's coming to Game Pass Day 1. So that is pretty nice. I am subscribed up to Game Pass, up until April of next year of 2024. So hopefully, if it can come out before then, I would really appreciate that. I think it's maybe a little bit likely. I don't know if we can expect Fable this year, but possibly early next year could be kind of cool. So we will see. I like that it's coming to Game Pass day one. I think a lot of these games will be, and that is a great selling point for Xbox. So Fable has been a game I really liked in the past. I played the first one, and I think I played all three of them. I think I beat the second one twice. I think that's my favorite one. And I haven't gone back to them in a while. I've I've sometimes wanted to dabble back and play them again, but I think I'll be just excited to play this new entry. So I'm excited. They say they're keeping a lot of the same British humor as I think what they said. It has it just looks cool. Looks like they're doing some great updated things, making Fable modern. Hopefully it's going to have a cool story, a cool setting. I hope there will be some cool interactive stuff between your character and the NPCs and things like that. I think that's some of the most fun stuff in Fable, some of the life sim sort of aspects, and we will see. So pretty cool for them to open the show with Fable. I think that's a strong thing. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, have been wanting to hear more about this game and see something about it this year, and it was nice to get that right off the top. So it was a good start to the show. All right, so another game they showed off was Forza Motorsport. They announced the release date, which would be October 10th, 2023. This is the follow-up to 2017's Forza Motorsport 7, and there was just a new trailer that showed off the next-gen visuals. So I think this game, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I think this game is only for next-gen. So I don't know if you're going to be able to play this on Xbox One or PS4, so you might need to have a next-gen console, a Series X or S or a PS5. And I think that could, these racing games are kind of like, how can the visuals really get better? But they should, be able to get a little bit better. But we will see. I think this will be a good showcase. You can always, we're getting into the time where more of these games are just being released for next gen. So you would imagine that the visuals would be bumped up a little bit with these racing games. They're already very realistic, but any improvements would be cool. And that's kind of, a big part of these games is just looking at them and seeing how great they look and being, mesmerized by that and seeing these cars. And Forza is actually a fun game to drive too. So I'm going to be playing some Forza Motorsport. I usually play these games every time when they come out. So I might not play them to the bitter end, but I usually do a good bit of open world stuff in these games. Forza Motorsport is more of a less open world and more of just kind of a race thing. But I don't know. I haven't played a Forza Motorsport in a long time. I've been playing the Horizon series probably for the last two more so than the Motorsport. But it's been a handful of years since the last Motorsport. But those are fun. They're more dealing with racetracks and traditional racing. So it's just a nice switch up from the craziness of Horizon. But I think overall most people probably like the craziness of Horizon better. But Forza Motorsport is where the series started, so there's a big legacy there. And I'll be hyped to play this, especially if it's on Game Pass, which I believe it is. And I'll definitely be playing some of this in October when it comes out. 10/10/2023. Forza Motorsport. Can't speak all the way correctly. All right, the next game that looked really cool. I think this might have been the coolest trailer of this show, just from it being a interesting trailer and really fun. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. This is the follow-up to Yakuza, Like a Dragon, and this has been officially revealed. So we see Ichiban. He washes up on the shore of Hawaii, and he's fully nude, and all these funny little gimmicks of blocking out his nudeness. You start with seeing his ass, and you see some of that, but then they have all these things covering his front, and it's very funny. They move something, but there will be something else there. And then he moves, and then actually a lady sees him and says, "Oh my God, there's a streaker on the beach." And you're really just wondering why Ichiban is washed up on the shore of Hawaii. So it's a really tempting and interesting trailer, and it's just making you wonder what's going on in the game. And I think that was really, really cool and a great job. I played a good bit of Like a Dragon back in the day. I didn't complete it, but it was my first experience with a Yakuza game, and I could see myself playing this. This game will be coming to Xbox and Windows early 2024, and looks really cool. The visuals look great. These games have really quirky, wacky stories, and Ichiban's a really cool character. And I want to know why he's nude on the beach, washing up. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did you come from? Ichiban Joe. I don't know what he was doing, but Ichiban was looking all shredded. He was looking all ripped. And, the characters are looking great. The visuals in this were looking amazing. So that's what I want to say about that. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Looking really, really cool. All right, another game. Persona 3 Reload. This is coming early 2024 to Xbox Game Pass. And the gameplay showed our first look at the remake, which appears to bring Persona 3 in line with Persona 5 from a gameplay and visual standpoint. So that is pretty cool. They recently just put, in the last couple months or half of the year, maybe 6 months ago, they put Persona 3 and Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden onto Xbox Game Pass and, available on Xbox to buy, along with Persona 5 Royale. So this is them going back to the old game of Persona 3 and giving it a fresh coat of paint, remaking it in whichever way they deem necessary, and it's updating, I guess, some of the visuals and some of the gameplay to be more in line with one of their modern releases, Persona 5. So I think that's a cool thing. When those games got put onto Game Pass, I was reading, if you wanted to play one, which one should you start on? I kind of think the consensus was Persona 5 Royale, unless you're just a historian or a giant fan or really want to experience the whole series from the jump and how it started. But, some of the comments I was reading was Persona 3 is a little bit harder to go back to, which is some, there's quality of life improvements as time goes on with games and things people figure out and make them easier and more fun or whatever it may be. So I think it's cool they're going to reload this game, as they call it, and update it. I wonder if they'll do the same thing to Persona 4. I think that could be a really cool thing. So I would be more inclined to play this than the old version. So I think that is, I think they're tapping into a pretty good market here with the remake. So really, really cool. And something I would be kind of excited to see and check out, especially, it coming to Game Pass. That is the perfect reason for me to try it. So, staying in the world of Persona and Atlas, another game that actually leaked early, but it was officially announced at the Xbox Game Showcase, and that is Persona 5 Tactica. So this is a Fire Emblem-style tactics take on the world of Persona 5, featuring a new chibi art style. This game is coming to Game Pass on November 17th, 2023. So, coming to us at the end of the year this year, and I don't know if this would be something I play, but I like Persona and I like Fire Emblem, so having a mishmash kind of hybrid version of both of those together could be really cool and something I want to check out. So, just overflowing with games as always. There's a million choices out here. Persona, getting some Persona releases. I think it's cool they're having a new take on it. I think it's cool they're mixing styles. I think Fire Emblem and Persona could kind of mix well together. And it could be something I want to check out on November 17th, 2023. All right, some more things I found interesting about this Microsoft Xbox showcase was a game called Star Wars Outlaws. This is Ubisoft Star Wars Outlaws, and it's coming out next year. This is a massive Star Wars game. I guess Massive is the developer or the studio. This trailer showed a lot of familiar Star Wars iconography, including cantinas, a Rancor, stormtroopers, and more. And plus, there is an adorable companion that looks tailor-made for Star Wars toys, which is a definite thing they are trying to do whenever they release Star Wars. And this game is coming to Xbox Series X and S in 2024, and it's set to be open world. So in the Star Wars games, ever popular, people are always hyped for these. I can see myself playing this if it reviews well. I'm a decent fan of Star Wars, and I think having a cool Star Wars game could be cool. We got Star Wars Jedi Survivor this year, which is something I'd still like to play. I don't know, if it comes out next year, you're picking between those two. I don't know if I would choose this Outlaws over Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but I don't really know. I could probably use some more information on this Outlaws game, and I'll be checking for that in the future. So, another cool game of the showcase. So now we're going to talk about the last game I thought that looked really interesting to me, and it's called Clockwork Revolution. This is a game that I really had no knowledge of or experience with or what to expect, but this is a new game from In Exile, and it's coming in due time, is what they say. So they're being punny with their Clockwork. They're going to, in due time, you'll get this game. And it appears to be a first-person shooter with a steampunk theme. And there were hints of time manipulation mechanics, and it's coming to Game Pass on day one. So no date announced, but it will be on Game Pass, so that is something that you can sleep easy if you're a Game Pass subscriber on your pillow at night, knowing there could be a cool game. This game had some good, it looked like a little bit of BioShock Infinite kind of vibe to it. And just to say, I watched MinMax stream this showcase, so that was one of their call-outs too, and I agreed with it. But if you want to go to MinMax with 2 N's, it's a great YouTube channel, and they do a lot of live streams and talk over these events, and that's what I watched to catch up on this. I was a little bit late watching it today, but I watched the archive stream and got to see all the great stuff, and then hear the MinMax crew talk about it while the show was going on. So that's very fun, and I recommend you do that. I actually did that for the Xbox show, the Starfield Direct, and the PlayStation Showcase we'll talk about in the midsection of this show. So check out MinMax with 2 N's. It's a great team of video game people over there. All right, so the last thing in this Xbox showcase was they announced some hardware, which is a new Xbox Series S. It is a all-black version of the console, and it has 1 terabyte. So this looks pretty identical to the Series S, minus the black color and the larger hard drive. And it comes in at $50 higher in price. So this one is coming September 1st, 2023, and it'll cost you $349.99 US dollars. Pre-orders start later today, 6/11/2023, June 11th, so today, 2023. And this console is apparently a response to people saying that the Series S didn't have enough storage previously. So they're doubling the storage for $50, which seems like a pretty good, a $50 increase seems pretty proportionate to what you're getting here. Actually, pretty good value. And I think it's a cool option. It definitely looks cool being all black. I like the look of that. But, it looks identical to the Series S. It really is just black like the Series X. But cool option. If you don't have an Xbox or haven't bought one before, this could be the perfect one for you. I would almost want you to get the Series X though. If you're already paying $350, $150 more, it is a lot of money, but it could be real worth it to be able to see the games in their highest form available on the Xbox console. So I don't know. I think that could be something to weigh out. You get the terabyte hard drive on the Series X. It's 150 boosting up. So you're really just paying for the visuals there at this point with this console and the extra power that the Series X provides. But I had a Series S for a little bit and actually just traded it back in because I didn't really need to use it. But it ran very well. You can notice a little bit of difference in the visuals, but nothing too insane. And if you aren't the most hardcore, I don't even want to call you hardcore, but if you only play a handful of games and you don't want to drop the extra cash because you just don't think it'll be worth it, I think it's perfectly fine to buy a Series S. And if you want some more storage, I don't know. I've never really have an issue with the storage. I like to have multiple games installed. I've gone through bouts of liking to have more games installed, but it doesn't really matter to me as much anymore these days, because you really can only play one game at a time, sort of. You know what I mean? But so I don't know. I've never really found the storage to be an issue. But if you do like to have multiple games on your console, or if you're like a player of like Call of Duty, sometimes that takes up over 100 gigs, and can kind of cramp your style a little bit on the storage aspect. But it still looks really cool. And let's see. All right, so they showed a new trailer in the Xbox showcase portion for Starfield. So Starfield is the main thing I'm coming here looking for pretty much. That's the thing I want the information on. That's the thing I'm ready to play most from Xbox. That's the biggest game that's got the biggest target on its back because it's really being hyped. Bethesda's creating it, and I love Bethesda. And this should be the exclusive that Xbox needs. I think this could be some great ammo in the conversation of Xbox not having exclusives of this game can be really good, and I am excited for it. So in the Xbox showcase portion, they showed a new trailer for this, and we saw plenty of establishing shots of planets, ships, wildlife, and more. But following the Xbox showcase, they actually had a Starfield Direct, so that's what we're going to talk about here for a bit. So that was directly after the show. It showed you a pretty good in-depth look at Starfield. It's looking very cool. Todd Howard, I guess is his name, was walking us through what's going on with the new game. And I think I'm excited for it. It looks a little bit No Man's Sky. It looks a little bit of Outer Wilds. Has a little bit of that kind of vibe to it. But it looks very cool. I like there was a lot of new things about it. You're able to steal enemy ships was one thing they talked about. So I think that's pretty cool. You can go up to an enemy ship. If you can successfully get to it, you can dock to it. You can board the ship. You can murk everybody on board if you choose, and you can take over that ship. And then apparently you can have a whole collection of ships in your arsenal. You have to take them to a base or something like that, but you can scroll through your ships, which sounds really cool. So I'm excited about that. And then MinMax was also talking about this game. What kind of direction is it going to go? Is it mainly going to be a resource management game, kind of akin to No Man's Sky? You're seeing some of that in this trailer. There's certain planets that are really only viable for resources. So there is going to be some of that involved in this. But then they were also showing off some of the cities. So I think it was either Atlantis. I think it was called Atlantis, or I think that was the name of it. But they showed off multiple cities. They said Atlantis, or this one name Atlantis, something similar, is the biggest city they've done. And it looked really cool. So some of the more developed areas in this game look cool, but then some of the more wild areas in this game look cool. So I think this game is having a good balance between that kind of stuff. It looks like you can kind of have open-ended fun with this game, but it'll be more. I'm a little more interested to see kind of like the the suggested path through it. Like what's really going to be hooking you to go forward, and meeting these cool characters hopefully, and having some cool storylines, and all the world building stuff that adds into it. I think that's some of the most fun stuff with these style of games that Bethesda makes. So that's kind of the part that I want to get into and see. Either way, when this game comes out, I'm going to be playing it because I really want to try it, and I hope it's going to be a home run, or a grand slam, or I really just hope this game's going to deliver. I don't want it to be a buggy mess when it comes out. I think we should expect some bugs, just because it's a Bethesda game, a giant open world Bethesda game. But I'm really hoping with all the delays and preparation, this game is going to come out in a good state. And I don't know why. I don't know why, because I probably shouldn't, but I have pretty good confidence that it will. So I don't know. This was really cool. I would say if you wanted to go learn more about Starfield, definitely go watch this direct. It was very fun, very cool, a lot of information. And what else did they talk about during this? They have a new Starfield Xbox controller. It's actually available now on the Microsoft Store for $79.99 US, and it is available to order and ship right now. And there is also, that controller looks amazing. It's generally a white controller with a lot of other art on it, and it looks cool. It has the Starfield like cool rainbow thing. It has it's like telling you which button helps with your thrusters and stuff like that. It's just a really cool looking controller. One of the cooler ones I've seen. I don't necessarily need to buy a new controller, but if I was in the market for a new controller, I would be looking to buy this one because it's really cool. And they also announced they have a Starfield Xbox wireless headset, and that's available now from the Microsoft Store for $124.99 of US dollars. And then there's also pre-orders for the Constellation Edition for $299.99, and those are live at Best Buy right now. And I believe that is the special edition of Starfield that you can buy. It's called the Constellation Edition. So that'll set you back $300 US dollars if you're really wanting to drop some cash on some Starfield's stuff. So it looked really cool. I generally think the show was pretty good. There weren't any giant surprises for me. I'm really already kind of sold on trying Starfield. I'm definitely sold on trying Fable and Forza Motorsport. I would possibly like to play Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. That looks cool. And then Clockwork Revolution was something that looks cool, but I don't know if I'll end up being into it or really wanting to give it a chance. I don't know. But it has some potential there according to me. But Starfield is the main highlight for me from this show, along with seeing Fable, Forza, and Like a Dragon. So I think this was generally a pretty good show. I don't know if it squashes all the people saying, Xbox doesn't have any exclusives. There's some coming, but some of these are unknown quantities. So they're preparing new IPs. There's some of those going on. I might not have talked about all the announcements in the show, but I want those games to get here. And I can't play everything, so sometimes you got to wait and see. And I'm ready to wait and see on some of these games, and I hope they're all going to be successful. I know it's not realistic for them all to be successful, but I'm going in hoping that. And Microsoft buying all these studios has to have some kind of result in the future of something good. So I don't think they're going to shoot 100% from the field with these exclusives, but I think some of them are going to be great or excellent, or classic games. So I'll be keeping my ear to the streets for all these games, and you should keep your ears to the Dep Lewis Show, because I report on this kind of news every week and keep you updated on what's going on and what's coming out and what's looking cool. And please go watch these showcases for yourself as well. I think I'm giving you a good summary of what I think is cool, but obviously that's what I think is cool. So you should go watch these showcases yourself, and you maybe you'll find something else in there that you think is really neat, and you're like, why didn't he talk about it? And if you're really passionate about it, email DepLewisShow@gmail.com, and tell me about it. Say, hey, you missed this, man. Maybe check it out again. I would love to, double back and be wrong and get some more hype in my life. So, go check out these shows. Either way, I'm very glad you're listening to me recap them, but go watch them. It's one of the more fun things to do of being a video game follower and player is watching these shows and planning out your year for what's coming, and just all that kind of stuff is very, very fun, and I enjoy it. I think that's kind of why I enjoy doing this podcast so much. So a lot of great news in this first section, in the traditional what I've been playing section. So we talked about what I've been playing, which is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And then we switched it up a little bit this week since there's so much news. We put some news in the first section, and we went over the Xbox games showcase, and then the Starfield Direct. So we talked about Fable, we talked about Forza Motorsport, we talked about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, we talked about Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, Star Wars Outlaws, we talked about Clockwork Revolution, we talked about the new 1TB Xbox Series S in all black color, and then we talked about the Starfield Direct, which is the most hyped thing for Xbox for me at the moment. So go check those out. And if you want to check out one of them, I'd say go watch the Starfield portions. Watch that trailer from the showcase and then watch the direct. You'll see a lot of cool things there and be really excited for the release of Starfield. So that is going to wrap up the first section of this show today. I really appreciate you, going along with me, switching it up and throwing some news in this first section. Next week should kind of go back to normal. I should be playing some more games in the upcoming week. Might possibly even purchase some new games, but I'll definitely be playing some more Legend of Zelda, and so I'll definitely have that to talk to you about next week. So that's going to wrap up this first section. We're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some lovely music created by a friend of the show, Volnus, and that gives you an opportunity to go take a break, or you can just wait and listen to the music, and we'll be right back with the mid section of the show. Welcome back to the mid section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 36. This is where we talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape, and I've been seeing a lot of cool things in this section. So we are going to talk about a showcase that happened, which was called Summer Games Fest 2023. And I got to say, this has probably been the best showcase of games over the summer that I've seen. I'd love to see a Nintendo Direct sometime soon, but this Summer Games Fest had a lot of things I'm interested in. So that is what we're here to talk about today. Some of these things I already knew about, and some of these things I did not know about. So there's a great mix of games here. Like in the prior section when I talked about the Xbox showcase, I'm not going over every game that was announced. I'm just going over the ones that I'm most interested in. So there could be some things I'm missing here, or I'm not discovering or discussing the entire showcase. But so I would recommend you go watch it yourself because it's very cool and beneficial to do. And, if you have any suggestions or things I missed, hit me up on DepLewisShow@gmail.com. But we're going to go through what I think is really cool, what I'll definitely be interested in purchasing, and what I'll be checking for, after release on, how these games are reviewing, and most likely trying to play most of these. So we will see. So we're going to go down the list here. I believe that's all we're talking about in this midsection. Yes, the Summer Games Fest. No, actually, we have a little bit more to talk about besides that. So this section is going to be kind of busy. So get your listening ears on. Maybe get a notepad. That's very antiquated. But maybe get your memory ready to remember these games, because you're going to want to play a lot of these. You're going to want to remember them. And, I would recommend building a wish list with some of this stuff, because there's a ton of games. So let's get it started. All right, the first game I'd like to talk about is Spider-Man 2. It launches to PS5 on October 20th, 2023. And they revealed the date. So that's what they did. That was the big announcement for Spider-Man. We get the date, October 20th. This will be a day one purchase for me, 100%. We got the box art reveal, which looks very cool. It's showing Peter and Miles in costume shooting webs, and learn that Venom. We learned that Venom won't be Eddie Brock. So apparently Eddie is the name of the Venom character in the Marvel Universe, I think is correct. But he's actually not going to be Eddie Brock in this game for whatever reason. So that was something they wanted to highlight. I'm not the most versed in, comic book things, but I like Spider-Man a whole lot, but I don't know a lot of the intricacies necessarily. So I don't know, what the justification for doing that change is. But I think this game is going to be awesome. Any way you cut it or any way you look at it, I'm excited to play it. I beat the first game, which is an accomplishment for me since I don't complete too many games. So this is something that I'll be wanting to play, and I think this is my most anticipated. I guess besides Starfield, I don't know if you call that the fall, but besides Starfield, I think Spider-Man 2 is the next biggest game this year that I'm really interested in playing, or that I want to play the most. So get hyped for some Spider-Man 2. You should definitely know what to expect from that. You got to play it on PS5. It'll probably come to PC one day, would be my guess, but you need to get your PS5, and I think it's going to be a great console seller for the holiday season and the fall season, and hopefully it executes. I think there's zero chance this game could be bad, but I just don't know if it's going to top the last one. So I think that's a tall order, but it's possible to be done. So we will see. So check out the Spider-Man 2. Looks really cool. All right, the next game is Mortal Kombat 1. So we figured out this is out later this year in 2023. We got to see some gameplay. We saw the new assist mechanic in action, where fighters can call in help from other Mortal Kombat characters in the middle of battle. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if some of those characters are going to be in the game, or they're just going to be assist characters. So it's always fun to check out the roster in this, and who's unlockable. And Mortal Kombat definitely adds more characters to the game after the fact, from different franchises and different IPs and things like that. So that's very fun too. And what else do we see? We saw a couple of fatalities, including a close-up shot of someone's ribcage. and someone getting their heart ripped out of their chest, which is pretty standard stuff for Mortal Kombat. So we just had the release of Street Fighter 6 recently. We're getting Mortal Kombat 1 later in the year, and it's a great time to play some fighting games. So I just really need some time to do this. Zelda's really cramping on my style on video gaming, mainly playing it, but Mortal Kombat is something I love. I think it's tough to decide if I like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat better. I would maybe give Mortal Kombat the edge, but I've really liked both of their games a whole lot. I haven't played everyone in the series, but I've had just a great time with a handful in each series. And my love for these games is probably pretty equal. But, if I had to maybe pick, maybe I'd go Mortal Kombat. But I'm excited to get into some of the Street Fighter, so we will see. Hopefully I can be playing a lot of these, getting a lot of fighting game matches in this year. And, Mortal Kombat 1 would be a great opportunity to do so. All right, so next game we're going to talk about, we almost went right into it, is Alan Wake 2. This was a huge gameplay reveal. This game comes out on 10/17/2023, October 17th. This game has 2 playable characters, Alan Wake and Sage Anderson, and there's a 50-50 split between the 2 of them. Sage Anderson, I believe is the correct name, is an FBI agent in the Pacific Northwest, while Alan Wake is trying to escape from the nightmare dimension. So I love Alan Wake 1 a whole lot. My friends made fun of me for playing a game with a flashlight, but it's, very scary and fun and atmospheric and spooky and, just really, really cool. And this game's looking even creepier and even spookier and even scarier, so I'm going to really have to get, my big boy pants on and not be scared of what's going on in this game or whatever. But it looks really cool. I'll be excited to play it. This launches 3 days before Spider-Man 2, so there could be some conflict there. I would definitely pick Spider-Man 2 over this if I had to just pick one, based on timing. But, Alan Wake 2 is something I want to play. Possibly I want to play Alan Wake 1 again. There's a remastered version. I believe it's $29.99 on the PlayStation Store. And it was on sale recently for like $12. So maybe I'll look for a sale of that again, because I'm sure that'll happen sometime before the release of Alan Wake 2. But I'm excited for this. I'm into survival horror pretty recently, and I've been into survival horror. I just never would necessarily say that's, one of my favorite genres, but I think it possibly could be. So Alan Wake 2 could be another great entry for my survival horror kick. So looking really, really cool. All right, let's talk about another game. This one is called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So we got our first real look at the second part in Square Enix's Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. So I owned the first game. I played a pretty good bit of it, and this is the second part of the trilogy. We saw Cloud, we saw Aerith, and the rest of the party riding through the expansive fields of the world outside Midgar. We saw the party riding chocobos, exploring towns, and discussing Sephiroth's inevitable return. Sephiroth just keeps showing up and messing things up like he always does. Plus we saw Red 13, I think is what his name is, joining the party this time as a playable character. This game is coming to PS5 early next year, 2024. So, we got Final Fantasy 16 coming out in a few weeks. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out in 2024. So, I would love to possibly play the first part of this trilogy before getting into this. So, I really need to get a plan together for some of these franchises. I have like 9 million franchises that I'm really interested in, and they have new releases all the time. But I need to go back to some of these old games because I want to play them. So, maybe next week, note to myself, that could be a great, if there aren't more showcases. I think there's a Ubisoft showcase tomorrow, but one of these shows come really soon. I'm gonna create some type of list of like a guide for these franchises that I'm into, and I'm not gonna stick to it completely because I can do whatever I want. But I would like to have something to try to work from and just see how many of these things I'm really interested in, kind of prioritize them. Half the fun is in doing that for me. So look forward to that later on one of the future episodes of the Dep Lewis Show. But that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is looking cool. Really, really neat. So check it out. All right. The next game that was kind of a surprise that I think looks cool is called Sonic Superstars. This is a brand new side-scrolling Sonic game with 4-player co-op. Players can choose between Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy Rose and play with up to 4 players at the same time. I don't know if I'm familiar with Amy Rose, but I like that she has 2 names for one. This game is a side-scroller, but it takes a 3D art style similar to classic Sonic's appearance in Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces. And this game is out on all platforms this fall, so it looks really cool. They've changed the art style a little bit. It looks a little more cartoony. It's probably kind of weird to say because Sonic is a cartoon, but the style just looks a little more, I don't know, childlike or cartoony. Not in a bad way, just a little more cute almost is what I would say about it. And it's really cool. The colors might be a little more muted, but there's still a wide range of colors. It looks really cool. You should go watch it for yourself. MinMax, when they were talking over it, said, hey, the gameplay actually, Sonic looks a little bit slow. So, that's not typically what you're seeing with Sonic, but, I really hope this game's going to be good. I think one of my favorite recent Sonics is Sonic Mania, so I hope it's somewhat similar to that in some ways. And, I think that Sonic Generations, or one of those games recently they released for Sonic, was pretty successful. So, Sonic's doing some pretty good things here recently, and I'll give this game, I would go into this game expecting it to be good more than I would bad, and I don't know if you can normally say that for Sonic games a lot of times. So I think Sonic has been building their reputation back up. Sonic has a very hardcore fan base, but a lot of people do like to shit on the Sonic series for, putting out a lot of games and, some of them not being good according to them. But I'll be excited to try this. I think this could be a day one purchase for me if it comes out at a good time, and so we will see. All right, so another game. This game actually opened the whole fest off, and it was kind of a surprise. Seemed like a good one to me, and that is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It's a brand new Prince of Persia game. It's coming out early next year for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC on January 18th, 2024. So that's a game we can kick off next year with to start the Game of the Year deliberations. This is a brand new side-scrolling action platformer with a vibrant art style. And it looks cool. I just haven't thought about Prince of Persia in many years. I think the last time, I was playing a Prince of Persia might have been like 2007, 2009. But I really like the game. I like the style of the game. The gameplay's fun. I like the platforming. And, I'd give this game a look. It just, I like that it's coming out in January. I think that's a cool thing. I think that's a pretty fun time to get some games. Usually there's a few drops in January, but nothing insane. But can have some good quality stuff right at the beginning of the year. And just nice to see an old franchise coming back that we haven't seen in a while and was real popular. And, Prince of Persia, I'd kind of put it in the category where it's not like, I don't know, I don't want to call it B tier, but it almost is B tier in my mind. And I think we've lost a lot of B tier games where you're wanting everything to be open world and have a crazy story and have every element of every game, RPG mechanics in it. But Prince of Persia, maybe this could be a return to a little bit of an older style of game, with new twist obviously, but just more of a B game experience. And I think those games have a pretty good place in the video game lexicon, and I think something that's missing out sometimes. So this could be a good example of that, is all I'm really trying to say. But Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown looks pretty cool. All right, another game in the Like a Dragon series that was talked about in this show is Like a Dragon Gaiden. The official name is Like a Dragon Gaiden: The Man Who Erased His Name. This releases November 9th, 2023. So these Like a Dragon games have been coming in hot. There's tons of these games, and they put all these on Game Pass. All the previous games or something like that on Game Pass last year. So there is no shortage of, previously called Yakuza, now called Like a Dragon. We talked about the new Like a Dragon that's coming out next, in 2024. We talked about that in the first section from the Xbox Showcase. But the Summer Games Fest, we got this announcement for this Like a Dragon Gaiden for November of this year. So this game is a spin-off in the long-running Like a Dragon, formerly Yakuza, like we said, series, and it marks the return of protagonist Kazuma Kiryu. So he looked like a really cool, intense guy. It seemed pretty cool when they showed him on screen. I wasn't familiar with him, but it seemed like a pretty big reveal. And, talking about that list of franchises that I need to really get into, I think this Like a Dragon and Yakuza could be a beneficial one for me to spend some time with, because I think I would really like playing it. So check out that Like a Dragon Gaiden. All right, a few more games from this showcase I want to talk about. This next one is actually a new IP, and I was excited to see this. This was one I just watched. I didn't know about anything about it previously, and watching it, I was immediately interested in. I would probably be checking to play this game when it gets released because it looks that cool. But we got the first look at Bandai Namco's game coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The game features Akira Toriyama's signature art style from Dragon Ball Z, or he was, I guess he was the lead art person for Dragon Ball Z. Heavily involved, heavy-handed. I don't know 100%, but you can definitely see those influences in this game. And this is based on a niche Toriyama manga from 2000. So pretty cool. When this was being shown on the MinMax stream, they were like, "Oh, what is this?" And people in the chat were actually pointing it out. So Seems pretty cool. I like that it's a older, they're saying it's a manga from 2000. I think it's cool they're bringing it back. It definitely has a really cool art style. I like the name. I like the vibe. I like the characters look really cool. The gameplay showed tank and melee combat across the game's wide desert, so there was a lot of desert stuff going on and little dune buggies and ways to get around. So it looks neat. There's no release date yet, but this looks really cool. So this was probably my coolest unique game that I saw, or just something I didn't know about. They did a great job of putting a trailer out and marketing it and halfway selling it. I think that was a great example of that. And other teams that have unknown games should maybe look to this for some tips, is what I would say, on just how they executed their trailer and presented their information, and then hopefully they're having a good game backing all of it, which looks like it could be true. But that is the part that is still to be determined, because we got to get our hands on it first. But Sandland is looking really cool, and I'll add it to my list of things to be excited for. All right, so I got two more things from this show. These are going to be kind of quick hits. Street Fighter 6 and Exoprimal is going to have a collab. This was announced, but very little about said crossover, aside from the fact that it's coming in fall 2023. Exoprimal is actually a multiplayer third-person shooter that's debuting for PS4, PS5, Windows, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One. Wow, very soon, on July 14th, 2023, so about a month away from real time if you're listening to this podcast in real time. In the brief footage teasing the collaboration, a mecha Ryu was shown fighting a dinosaur, because why not? He can be seen talking to Exoprimal's artificial intelligence, Leviathan, Bikitoa Island. Guile also shows up at the end of the teaser, so I don't know if I'll be playing Exoprimal, but it's possible if I could be playing the content that's available in Street Fighter 6, or the DLC that's going to be available in Street Fighter 6, or whatever kind of crossover they're going to have. So I think it's neat. I think it's fun to see dinosaurs in a fighting game or that kind of element. So I think this is just a cool collab. I love the collab stuff that Street Fighter 6 does, with bringing other characters into the game, or new characters. I love that Mortal Kombat does that as well. It's really, really fun. And that's kind of one of the more fun things with fighting games these days, is seeing the characters that get released after the fact. Obviously, you'd love to have them all in the initial build, but a lot of times they're probably developing or adding these characters in after the fact, or they have it prepared to add in for DLC, just obviously to get some more money from you. But there's a lot of work that goes into creating characters and balancing them. So I feel like if they give you a decent roster to start the game, you shouldn't really be too upset about having additional characters be put in the game, because it's just kind of par for the course nowadays. But I actually think it's fun, and I definitely dedicate some of my money to buying video games. So that's one where I'm just dropping the cash because it's something I like. So very cool, and I'll be excited to see more information from that. The last game I want to talk about is something I've never played before. Maybe I'd have some interest in it. I don't know. Just never really looked into it too much, but there was a cool thing on stage with this, so that's why I want to talk about it, and that is Dead by Daylight. So the announcement here was that Nicolas Cage is coming to Dead by Daylight, which we already knew, but that was released, that information was released pretty recently. And the cool part was we actually got to see the infamous actor. He appeared on stage for a chat with Jeff Keighley, so very, very cool. It was cool to see Nicolas Cage. He was very dramatic, very theatric, and I don't know, it seemed like he said this was a chance for him to branch out, since he's never been involved in the video game industry before. He says he likes horror. He said, I think he said he knew someone who was a big Dead by Daylight fan, and that really helped him too. But it just seems like a good mashup. He seems like a perfect character to have in this style of game. And the Nick Cage chapter comes to Dead by Daylight on 7/25/2023. So that's just a little bit over a month away as well. So maybe Dead by Daylight will be something I get into in the future, and it could be cool to play this Nick Cage chapter, because it seems really neat. Because even if just his voice would be cool. His character looked really neat. It looked a little bit like almost a little bit younger. Pretty cool. A little bit. It looked pretty similar to him, but it was just, the character in game looks really neat and cool. And I don't know. I think they're just hitting. I think they're hitting a good mark with this. I think it's a cool addition, and a fun marketing thing at least. Could get people to play Dead by Daylight, and I'm sure this chapter in the game would be neat. So go check it out. All right, the last two things I want to talk about, which are just that's gonna wrap up the talk about the Summer Games Fest from 2023. So shout out to Jeff Keighley for putting that event on. Shout out to all the games; they looked really amazing. We'll recap those before the end of this section, but there's obviously a lot more games shown or talked about. So go watch those showcases for yourself. I just wanted to present to you what I think is cool, and most of these are things I'll be trying to buy right away, or buy on release day. So those are the things I like to follow most because there's so many releases in the video game world. I kind of like to pick my heavy hitters because there's so many of them. And then, you're obviously going to have some surprises along the way, or a game's going to come out that you don't know about, and it's going to review well, and people are going to start buzzing and talking about it. And so that's sometimes how I get involved in those games more so than clocking them from the jump, because it really is just a lot to work through. So these are the real highlights, according to Dep Lewis, myself, on these games. And I think that was really fun. I think the Summer Games Fest was the best showcase I've watched this year. So go check it out if you'd like to watch and see all the information for yourself. So the last thing I want to do in this section is talk about a couple games. One's a recent release. One, we got an announcement for some DLC, and one is coming out in July. I just wanted to highlight that a little bit. I didn't realize that we were going to have all this content this week, so this might be a little bit extra long, but we're going to talk about it. I got this information here, and I want to bring it to you. I don't want to save it for next week because I'll have fun creating a whole new show for next week. So the first thing I want to talk about here is a game that released recently. It's called Diablo 4. It looks really cool. I watched Nextlander playing this recently. Now, I've watched a few videos online of people talking about this or playing it or reviewing it, but watching this Nextlander stream really kind of was selling me hard on it because they were having so much fun playing it together. I don't think you have to play this game co-op, but just hearing them go through it and talking about it together was really selling me pretty hard. They were having a great time. It was losing some of the spookiness to me. This game was looking a little too gory, so it was getting a little more. I don't know if I was getting used to seeing it more, or just Vinny talking about some silly stuff with skeletons was making it seem a little less scary, but it looks really cool. This game is $69.99. I actually have a GameStop gift card right now, so that's kind of the reason I'm clocking this game so hard. I really like the Megan Fox promos for this. Megan Fox is real pretty in general, so Megan Fox promos are always cool, but these videos they were putting up for this were great, and they made a whole lot of them, and they were kind of little short hitters, and she had a cool outfit on. The background was cool. I just think they did a phenomenal job of those on the marketing side. And I'm not surprised. I've never played Diablo, and I think it's cool that it's there's a big hype machine around it. I really like that. There's a big push. It's not something I know all the way about, but a lot of people are enjoying this game and loving it. And getting a celebrity promo is a cool thing and a big deal, and they had to spend some money for that. So they're confident that they're putting out a good product. I asked two of my friends who are, big Blizzard fans from, a long time ago. They played a lot of StarCraft. We obviously played Hearthstone. I don't know if they played World of Warcraft, but, I just have some nerdy friends. And they had both played Diablo 2 a lot, and we were recommending that. So that is a good strike, or another good mark for me playing some Diablo 4, that I've had a couple friends that have really been into it. They just haven't played, they didn't play the third one, but I don't know. I think this is something I need to try for myself, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's such a historic franchise that I've never tried. I think I need to get my hands on it just to try it out. I think it looks really cool, and my only hesitation is just having Zelda out right now, but I got some gift card money to drop, so maybe I'll drop it on some Diablo 4. So I just wanted to bring that up, that I'm really interested in that. And I think the other game I'm interested in is the Katamari Reroll remake plus Royal Reverie. I think that looks really cool, and might be something else I pick up, but I didn't really have information prepared to talk about that. I think it's $29.99 US dollars, and it looks really cool. I've actually watched some video footage of that, and I think it's something I want to jump into, but there are just too many games. Okay, we got two more things to talk about. So this was another trailer that was announced, or some DLC that was announced for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and some DLC. It's called Dimension Shellshock. This will launch in 2023. It adds a new game mode and characters and character colors, as well as new playable fighters, including Usagi, Yohimbo, I guess maybe. The little back of the box tagline thing says, "Chaos, the neutrinos crash the Turtles' latest pizza party. The teenagers from Dimension X are in dire need of help. Shredder is seeking to conquer the multiverse itself. Our heroes need to jump between dimensions and stop Shredder once and for all." This brings new playable fighters, including the razor sharp Usagi, Yohimbo, or Yojimbo. I really would like if it's Yojimbo, but that does not seem like that's correct. The Steely Rabbit Samurai, which that character looks amazing. I don't really know him, but he's on the cover for the the box art for the DLC, and he's really, really cool looking. They call him a Steely Rabbit Samurai. He's ready to hop across dimensions to fight evil and witness a new style of otherworldly battles awaiting the Turtles. So, I played a pretty good bit of TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That game's on Game Pass, I still believe. Really cool game. I recommend it. It would be fun to play with friends and co-op. So that's another good aspect of it. And, adding some more content to it is very cool. It's showing to me that they, had some pretty good sales in this game, and they are continues to support it with, it looks like, some really cool content. So that's about as good as you can hope for. So maybe I'll be picking up some type of bundle of the, the original game and the DLC all in one. It'd be a cool reason to finally cop the game officially instead of just playing it through Game Pass like I have. All right, the last game I want to highlight is something that comes out in July. I don't know why I picked it this week to highlight, but oh yeah, I do. There was a new trailer, Venture Forth, Brave Explorer, and that is for Pikmin 4. The release date for this is July 21st, 2023 for $59.99 on the Nintendo Switch. I have some experience with the Pikmin franchise, and I really like it. I'm a big Captain Olimar fan, and I know it's just something I should go back and play some more of, but I think I played at least the last 2 entries. I don't know if I played the first Pikmin, but I definitely played some Pikmin 3. In these games, you raise a crop of plant-like Pikmin and guide them on an endearing expedition. On the back of the box talk, it says, meet Pikmin, small plant-like creatures you can grow, pluck, guide, and send into battle with enemies multiple times their size. These loyal, curious helpers come in different types, including fire-resistant red Pikmin and brand new ice Pikmin. The fate of your Pikmin is yours to decide. Will you carefully avoid danger or rush into situations despite potential losses? ? Create your own explorer and navigate a big planet for a pint-sized perspective, or from a pint-sized perspective. Customize your look, then embark on a journey to find and rescue fellow explorers. Traverse a world that seems larger than life as you see everyday objects like plants, benches, and pots tower over your explorer and Pikmin. The coolest looking thing I saw was you get a special dog too. His name is Oatchi, O-A-T-C-H-I, Oatchi. He's a resident good boy and dependable partner. He can help with things like smashing obstacles and carrying you and your Pikmin throughout your adventure. With the minuscule Pikmin, a capable canine in tow, no challenge is too big. So it could be the year of the dog in video games. I definitely saw some dogs in Zelda. I bought Humanity, which is a game about a dog. We're getting a special dog named Oatchi in Pikmin 4, and I bet there's been some more dogs. So, Dep Lewis Show, put it on the record, big fan of dogs, and love seeing them in video games. They're very cute, and it's nice to not just have them as enemies trying to kill you. And Pikmin 4, I don't know, I will probably be playing this game. Just depends on how things go. I believe it's part of the Nintendo Switch game voucher promotion, so that's a really good deal. And just go check it out. Go watch that trailer, and it looks very cool. It looks like something you want to play, so that is why I'm telling you about it. So that is going to wrap up this fabulous, very informative, very hype-inducing midsection of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 36. We talked about Summer Games Fest from Jeff Keighley, which included games I'm excited for like Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Sonic Superstars, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, Like a Dragon Gaiden, Sandland, the Street Fighter 6 Exoprimal collab, Dead by Daylight, and then we also just talked about Diablo 4 in general. It looks really cool. We talked about the new DLC coming for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge DLC called Dimensions Shellshock, and then we did a little brief little hype talk for Pikmin 4, getting ready for that when it comes out in July. So Pikmin 4 had a new trailer called Venture Forth, Brave Explorer. Go watch that if you want to get hyped for the Pikmin 4 coming out in about a month. So that is going to wrap up the midsection of the show this week. We're going to come back for one more section after this short break, and we are going to talk some miscellaneous talk. So I'm going to tell you what book I'm reading currently. I'm about halfway through it, so I'm going to tell you about that. And then we're going to hit some sports talk, and then we're going to get you out of here for another week of the wonderful, world-famous Dep Lewis Show. So listen to this music and come back for the miscellaneous talk section in just a bit. Welcome back to the miscellaneous talk section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 36. This is where we do some miscellaneous talking. So we're going to start with some book talk. I'm actually reading a new book that came out this week. It's called Waybound by Will White. It is the last book in the Cradle series, which is very sad. I believe this is book number 12 in the series, so it's been a long time coming. And this game was slated to this book was slated to release on the 6th, but there were some problems with the digital pre-orders, so they got taken down or whatever previously, and then Will White emailed everyone and said, hey, you can go download this right now on the 4th. So on 6/4, I was able to download a digital copy of Waybound from Amazon. And if you want to pay the regular price, it's $6.99. But this was available on the 4th, which is really cool. It's nice to get something early. And I was able to subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, which I'd never done before. So I was actually able to download this early for free. And I generally like to read like a physical copy of a book. I just like having seen the real pages. I feel like it's nice. So I had pre-ordered a paperback, and it actually did show up on release day. So I was able to get started reading the book digitally, and then on the 6th, the paperback showed up to my place. And I switched over, and it was really, really awesome. That was a nice thing. I would have paid the $6.99 probably to get the digital copy early, but it was nice to get it for free. And I've started the Waybound. So I'm about 22 chapters in on this book, which is about halfway. I have one friend that's already finished it and given it 5 stars on the Goodreads, so that is a great thing. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to wrap up the series. I think there could be something drastic that happens, but I'm not all the way sure. Lyndon and Yaren have been struggling through this adventure so far a little bit. But, I think they'll come out on top, and we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see if they save the world and all that kind of stuff. And the Cradle series is really good. Will White likes to often put his books, his digital copies of his books for free on Amazon. So, keep up with his social media. Real recently he gave out all of his books for free, which is amazing. And, that really makes it easier to go support him when these new releases come out. So I probably will finish this book in the next couple weeks. So I'll just keep you updated on my progress through that and what I think about it. So if you want to, copy the Dep Lewis Show with what I'm reading, go read some Waybound by Will White. I would really recommend you read the whole series before. It's a really tall order, but, I think starting with the first book would be really cool. And, you don't feel like you have to really do the whole series. If you want to read the first book and end it after that, you don't like it. But if you do like it, the cool part is you have 11 more or whatever books it is to read. And I basically read these. I didn't read these as these were coming out. I basically had a whole one of my, I guess it was last year was my year of Cradle, where my whole year of Goodreads was basically just reading through the Cradle series. So it's pretty crazy that it's actually coming to an end. I know a lot of people have been, following these throughout the years, and I basically crammed all the books in one year, and then now I'm about to read. I'm in the midst of reading the final one, so just pretty cool. One of the most anticipated book releases for me this year, and it sounded good, especially according to my friend who's finished it. So I'll be talking about that some more once I complete it, and that is going to end the book talk for this week. So let's get into the worldwide world of sports. We're going to talk about the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers. The main news from that this week was J.C. Horn had a minor setback with his foot, which isn't great, but they said it shouldn't affect his start to the season. But it's just he's had some nagging injuries going on, Mr. J.C., and when he's on the field, he is elite. But we need to have him on the field. So I wrote on Twitter, I hope this is like Nipsey Hussle said, a minor setback for a major comeback. It'd be great to see J.C. on the field for most of the games because we're really going to need him. We got D-Jack coming back from injury, and we really need those guys to be out there. We have C.J. Henderson, I believe, is our third corner, but I think the rest of the room is a little bit unproven. So we really need our big hitters to be coming through, especially J.C., because his potential is through the roof. So, best of wishes to him and his rehab and getting back to 100%, hopefully getting to 150%. And, that was the only little bummer news from this week. Some good news from this week was Bryce to Mingo in practice. It seemed like that's a good combination. Apparently, Bryce hit Mingo on a pretty deep ball. They got the quarterbacks rocking the black jerseys out there looking fresh. And it seems like Terrence Marshall Jr. is doing his thing too. They were showing TMJ and Mingo hanging after practice together. My hype levels for Miles Sanders are going through the roof. He's only 26 years old, and he's been having a lot of production, and he should be our big workhorse is what I was hearing. So I'm getting pretty hyped for Miles Sanders. And then, some pretty cool news from this week. My favorite Panther, Mr. Brian Burns, he is Agent Zero now. He has changed his number. I'm even an owner of his number 53 jersey, but I am not upset because this is something that looks really awesome. It'll be so cool to be seeing him flying around out there with that number 0 on. And I'm probably going to want to cop one of these jerseys once I see him on the store. I haven't seen him on the store yet, but I'm going to be checking for them. I want to get a new Panthers jersey before the season starts is my decision. And I've been kind of going back and forth between Bryce, between JC, and then, maybe Brian Burns is the one I need to cop since he has a new number. So that may have made the decision for me. So last thing I want to say about that is they should extend Brian Burns. Make him the highest paid edge rusher in the league. He is the best player that we're going to find, and he's on our roster, and we need to pay him, and he needs the big bag of money, and please pay it to him. That's what I want to say. The last thing I want to talk about for the Panthers is just my hype level for the receivers. I heard some people on Twitter going back with Sheena Quick saying the receiver room's like really, really weak, one of the worst in the league. I don't know. I think it's a pretty good looking room. So I'm just going to tell you who we got. We got Terrence Marshall Jr., we got Adam Thielen, we got DJ Chark, we got Mr. Mingo, we got Laviska Shenault, we got Hayden Hurst, and we got Ian Thomas. And Ian Thomas was coming out saying that he's been loving the new coaches and he's been learning a lot. So, he's usually doing some more blocking, but maybe we'll see him, being a little more dynamic out there. We got Hayden Hurst to be able to catch some balls. I'm just really excited at that. I'm kind of expecting TMJ to be our number one receiver. And I think Thielen hopefully will be our most dependable receiver. I think Mingo could maybe have the biggest ceiling. I think Laviska could be cool with how we use him. And Chark, I think, is just going to be a great asset for the team. I think it's really cool. So I'm excited for this group. Obviously, they got to get out there on the field and do it. But I don't think that's looking bad. And I think us having Bryce Young, I think he could be elevating these players, actually. Even being a young guy, I think Bryce Young is looking like he could be the one. Or at least like a really, really good quarterback. So I think I'm excited to see him and have him on the Panthers. And, good times for the Panthers minus that JC news. So other than that, looking pretty good for the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show. So now we're going to talk about the official team of the Dep Lewis Show and the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, Major League Baseball. The best team in the universe is the Atlanta Braves. We're going to talk about what's been happening with them this week. So, before the podcast last week, they were going to play the Diamondbacks again that Sunday at 4:10. I said, did they win? And yes, they won 8-5. So that was a good way to end the week. Beat the D-backs, who are actually a very good team this year. And then let's talk about this week. So started off with sweeping the Mets, which is always good. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All comeback. I think they were all comeback wins. The one on Wednesday was definitely a crazy comeback win. Wednesday had the boys in the booth. They had Frenchie and Clavin and Smoltz and Chipper. Greg Maddux called in too. They were saying they had a season-high 4.51 household rating. They peaked at 145,000 viewers in 10th inning and 10 million impressions and 3 million video views on social media. So I think those booth boys will be coming back again at some point. It was very entertaining to watch. That was a great game. Orlando Arcia hit the game tire, and then I forget who walked it off. But just a really, really epic ending to that game in the 10th inning. And it was just exciting to have those guys in the booth calling it. Oh, yeah, it was Ozzy. Ozzy blamed a home run to the chop house on the right side. He just swung on that ball. You could tell immediately when it connected, it was out of there, and the game was over. One of the better endings for a Braves game this year. I don't know why I'm just remembering that, but it was amazing. All right, so what else we got? Orlando Arcia has been going scorched earth. I think this is ending up to be one of the best moves Alex Anthopoulos has made. We let Dansby walk in free agency. He got a big bag of money. We signed Orlando Arcia just for a couple $1 million for the next couple years. He's been playing out of his mind. He's been a great clutch hitter. He's been playing, I haven't seen him make too many errors on defense, and his bat has just really been going. And he's a great clubhouse person too. He's having fun. He's dancing on the sideline. He's celebrating with his teammates. Like he is a great addition to this team, and he is definitely outperforming what we're paying him right now. So that is just a great point to be in. Maybe not from Orlando's aspect, but from the Braves franchise, we got like the deal of the century right here so far with this shortstop deal. So shout out to you, Orlando. You're really balling, and please keep it up. All right, so then the Braves, after the Mets, they moved on to the Nationals. They beat the Nats on Friday night. It was another comeback. And then the Braves won 3-2. AJ Smith Shaver, I forget how to say his name, but he's Mr. Young pitcher, 20-year-old from Texas. Had a pretty good start. Came in and showed some pretty good things for a young guy, which is amazing. And then the Braves played the Nats at 4:10 on Saturday, and the Braves won 6-4. But the Braves actually lost to the Nats today at 1:30. They lost 6-2. So they ended their 7-game winning streak today. You can't win them all. You would think the Braves would beat the Nats most of the time, but hey, everybody can get got in this league. These are professionals, and that is how it goes. So the Braves will start off next week. They play every day in this upcoming week, 7 games in a row. They start the week off in Detroit against the Tigers, and then they're back home versus the Rockies. So this should be another week for the Braves to feast on some wins. I think they could sweep this week. I think it's probably more realistic. They go 5-2 would be my guess. I think that should be what we expect. 4-3 is maybe the most realistic, but I think we're 5-2 capable. And I don't know. I'd love to see a sweep. I think these, if you had to try to guess teams to sweep, this could be a good opportunity for one. Maybe if you're betting somewhere, but I think it should be a successful week, and I hope it will be. And that's going to wrap it up for the sports talk and the Braves talk and the miscellaneous talk. That's going to be it for this week. So we talked about what I'm reading right now, Waybound by Will White. Really cool book. And we talked about the Carolina Panthers. Brian Burns is now Agent Zero, number 0. Please extend Brian Burns, pay him a bag of money. I would love to report to the podcast that has happened. And then we talked about all the Braves' recent success, all their comebacks. Hopefully they're going to be set up to have a good week in this upcoming week. They got to play a lot of games. They got to do some traveling. But the Braves are rolling. Baseball has been amazing. And you're amazing for listening to this podcast. So just thank you so much for listening to this show as always. That's going to wrap up the miscellaneous talk section. It's going to wrap up the podcast. So this week we talked about a whole bunch of things. We talked about what I've been playing, which is still just The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We talked about the Xbox Showcase. We talked about the Starfield Direct. We talked about Summer Games Fest 2023. We talked about the release of Diablo 4. We talked about the announcement of TMNT Shredder's Revenge DLC. We talked about the upcoming July release of Pikmin 4 and just gave you some news on that based on the new trailer, Venture Forth Brave Explorer. The miscellaneous talk section, we did some book talk, we did some Panthers, and we did some Braves talk. So I would say that is a pretty epic episode of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 36. I'd like to say thank you to all the game announcements and showcases and news and even the recent game releases. Anyone involved in the video game industry and in the video game media, all the videos online, all the people covering all these shows. It's been really, really fun to watch and a great time to be a video gamer. And along with a bunch of amazing games being released and out and coming out, a great time to be doing a video game podcast. So just thank you for listening to this show as always. If you'd like to support the show more than you already do, please just follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. And just thank you so much for listening to the show. If you'd like to support it even more, I'd really like to point you to the patreon.com/DepLewisShow. There's the ground floor tier, which right now is $1 a month for the first 100 people. This will allow you to get access to all the content on Patreon always. And it's just a general support tier, but you also get the ad-free version since it's on Patreon, versions of the Dep Lewis Show's off series, where if I have a new game or a game I want to highlight, I will play and talk over it and post it on there, and I post it on YouTube as well. But Patreon's the best place to watch it because you can watch it without ads. So please go subscribe to patreon.com/DepLewisShow. It's just $1 a month. The first 100 people get the deal, and then there will be a price increase, for outside that 100. So it's an investment for your future, your future entertainment. So very, very important to do, and it's just nice to support the Dep Lewis Show in any way. I really appreciate you listening. I appreciate you doing anything involving the Dep Lewis Show. I really enjoy making it, and I'm going to be back next week for episode 37. So, have a wonderful week. Go catch up on your video game news. Start playing some video games. Come back next week for episode 37, and we're going to talk all about it. So I'll see you then.